I'm going to start recording as well. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to start out by reading down the list of participants in this meeting. I'm just going to go in the order that we appear in Zoom. We have Timothy Perkins, Aaron Robnett, Aiden, I believe that's Aiden Parker. Aiden, speak up if that's not you. We have Kenny Cernak, Kyle Markley, LJ Mills, Marion Skinner, Mary Collins, Matt. Matt, would you mind unmuting for a moment and giving us your last name so that we can have it in the minutes of this meeting? Not hearing anything from you, Matt. Are you Matt Canham? You could also put it in the chat. All right, thank you, Matt Canham. We have Pablo Serrato, Peter Vandenberg, Leon Noble, Taylor Rickey, Tim Sipple, Will Hobson, and William Johnson Jr. A very well attended meeting. Thank you, everyone. All right, I'm going to start showing off our agenda here. Well, that did not work. I'm suddenly a boomer. All right, here we go. All right, this is the agenda. First off, there's approval of the agenda, then approval of minutes. I took the liberty of preparing minutes from the last meeting, and I sent those out to the board ahead of time. Hopefully people had a minute to review them. If not, we're going to go through them anyway. There's the consent agenda. I want to give the directors a moment here, double check that these are the correct motions that are made between meetings, and also checking the votes. And if you did not vote on one of these motions and you wish to, you could go ahead and record a vote now and we'll edit.
I would like to vote aye for Tim Sipple's movement to add myself to be part of the primary election teller tomorrow.
All right. I was intending to ask you about this. You did reply to in that email thread, but the word that you replied with was sue, as in sue me in a court of law. And I thought that was probably supposed to be sure, and I didn't.
That was probably autocorrect. Yeah, I thought I voted,
Yep.
But yes, I'd like the record to reflect that I voted aye.
All right. Thank you, Taylor.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm going to move on past those. If any director has something that they want to go back and fix, we'll do so. Everything else is standard stuff, except that we have this new item under new business. So we could approve this agenda if we have a.
So moved.
Second.
Kyle moved. And who was the second?
Junior.
Thank you. William Johnson Jr. seconds. All right. Is there any objection from the directors? Hearing none. Next is the approval of minutes from June 8th. Hopefully that's on everybody's screen. Just for formatting niceties, I'm going to make that appear on the same page.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm unsure how I voted both yes and no on the everything.
Ah.
You got 2 votes.
You definitely voted yes. I'm trying to think back why. I think that you said my initial reaction is no.
I was,
And you were waffling back and forth, and I had to circle back around to you on the voting
yes,
roll
Yeah.
call. So thanks for catching that. Also, I think we should all agree Kenny gets 2 votes. Somebody's mic is echoing, knocking a little bit. It went away. I see something that isn't technically an error, but should be clarified. There's not a convenient way to insert the scanned pages of the, I'll put it here, yeah. I recorded the tally sheets of some of the votes of delegates at the Reno convention. And I have those tally sheets in digital form, but those scans are hard to neatly put into a Google Doc. And so I'm intending to insert them into the PDF version of this document that gets put on the website. But if anyone wants, I can pull those up now and show you what will be put in. They already were sent out to the board with this report that is Appendix A, the delegation chairs report.
Let me know if I'm wording this wrong, Mr. Chair. I would like to submit that we accept these minutes, knowing that you will add those into the later PDF version.
That sounds like an acceptable way to word it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Peter moves and Kenny seconds. Is there any objection? Hearing none, these minutes are approved. We'll go back to the agenda. All right, the consent agenda, we did have the option to amend that before, and Taylor did go ahead and affirm his vote on Tim's motion to add himself as a primary election teller. But here's one more look-see, and then we'll move along. All right. Open forum. Observers may speak on any, oh, go ahead. Was someone speaking up?
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
All right. Observers may speak on any agenda item at this time. So we have the agenda here before us. These are probably the bits that you want to comment on, if you do want to comment. So thank you to the many observers that we have in tonight's meeting. I think that we're evenly matched, observers versus board members. So excited to see the increased interest. All right, quiet bunch this evening. Thank you for coming. And just keep in mind that as we move along, if you have a question or something, feel free to go ahead and ask, and I'll just make sure that the board is all right from hearing from observers at that time. So moving along to reports of officers. I am the chair. My report is basically that we tallied the election results, and that has been the chief use of my time recently, has been dealing with the logistics around that. And then my personal life has been very, very busy this month. Just things around my property. I'm currently remodeling some space. I have animals that needed new housing, and of course, all the summer activities that my kids are doing. Just seems endless. So I haven't got to everything that I wanted to get to with regards to getting our candidate paperwork going and all that. But as of yet, we are not running behind schedule on anything like that. So no cause for concern. Taxation is theft. Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself, and I am happy to take any questions. Hearing none, we'll move to the vice chair's report. Will.
Hey everyone. I've had a busy month, and the party's honestly had a busy month. We've had some new metrics coming in. I was trying to find Todd Hagopian's reports. He is the Libertarian National Committee's treasurer, and there were some fantastic fundraising metrics hit after within this last few weeks, and I can't seem to find his report. I know that something on the order of at least 31, if not more, lifetime members signed up since our national convention. We now have plenty of money to pay off the debts we incurred in the months prior to Reno, and that was all really great. Social media wise, I think the Libertarian Party National Twitter account, just to give a snapshot, has increased its followers by about 25,000 in the last month. So it's a pretty significant increase since the national convention. As far as I'm concerned, I've been doing lots of outreach. I've reached out to different content creators. I've reached out to Free Oregon, which is the medical freedom coalition that I've been working with, and I promoted the Libertarian Party of Oregon to them. And the successes we've had recently, and I think a couple of members from that meeting joined our Discord. I've also reached out internationally to some German libertarians, invited them to some of our groups. German libertarians have it pretty rough right now, if you don't know, and they have had for a long time. So I thought maybe some camaraderie with some libertarians here in the United States might give them a little glimmer of hope. I've also been reaching out to a lot of anti-authoritarian and anti-war leftists in a lot of different spaces and corners of the internet, trying to promote the Libertarian Party to them. I've been helping National on their National comm server with some messaging tips. I've created some memes, found some interesting links and information, and we've been trying to kind of craft our new, messaging campaign, which seems to be pretty successful so far. In the real world, I made it out to the first meeting of the Sherman County Libertarians, which was a smashing success. Great job, Travis West. He put on a great first meeting. There were 11 Libertarian or Libertarian interest curious, I should say, members who attended that event. So right out of the gate, that's pretty great, and that's already enough to, if they are registered Libertarians already, to form an affiliate. I brought some of my books, swag, little odds and ends like Libertarian propaganda leaflets for the LP and some for my caucus, of course. But yeah, people are very interested. Got to have a lot of long conversations with the people out there. Travis is very interested in having us out and having me out and other Libertarians out again when it's time to run for some local elections. Also, Travis West was appointed to his city councilor and will need to run a race to be officially elected for the beginning of the next term in December. So I think a lot of us might be interested in going out and helping him. And I may come out for their county fair to do some promotion. And in addition to that, I was also out at the Multnomah County meeting, brought books and literature, saw a lot of new faces there, and invited them to our server. The Multnomah County meeting was very well done. They got a lot of exciting stuff done. I don't want to steal their thunder too much, so I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, it was really great to see that group also doing well. In other words, I helped create with Pablo's help and a few others. I helped create a calendar that we can now use to post events. There's now a Google calendar on the Libertarian Party of Oregon website. And I have been posting a lot of social events. I've been hosting a lot of social events to get that going. But now that I've got a lot of our social events up, I'd like to start getting some more like county and political events up, and affiliate events. And what else happened? As far as, like tangible things we've done to advance liberty, I helped out in the Bitcoin fundraiser for LP National. That was super exciting. It's pretty much, to the best of my knowledge, the first crypto fundraiser that any political party that I know of has ever done. And we raised a decent amount of money. I think we raised was close to $10,000 with that first event. And yeah, I helped the chair, our national chair, Angela McCardle, kind of spread the word about that. And I got to donate some Bitcoin, so that was fun. And it actually works. I called my congressman about the Yemen resolution, House Joint Resolution 87, War Powers Act, to help enforce an end to the war in Yemen on the executive branch. And I highly encourage everyone else to do so if you haven't already. It's very simple. Just call 1-800-STOP-WAR. It's an automated system that detects where you are and basically automatically routes you to your representative and senator. And you can just tell them, I strongly encourage you to support House Joint Resolution 87. That is the National Party also put out a resolution on that, which is really great. As you all know, I'm very anti-war, and that's one of my big issues. And I was really relieved, excited, very energized to see our national party taking strong anti-war stances. And yeah, that's it for now.
Oh, is that all?
Well, actually, no. Yeah, that's all for now. I think that's enough.
Just a quick correction, Mr. Vice Chair. It's 1-833-STOP-WARS, not 1-800. And please call. I did it as well. So.
Is it 1-833?
1-833-STOP-WARS and 1-833-STOPWARS.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was rushing and I typed it down wrong. I'm sorry. I was just reading what I typed, kind of like Ron Burgundy. Sorry, or Joe Biden.
End quote.
Yeah, end quote.
Line.
End line. Repeat line, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for correcting me. I don't want to get that wrong. I did call the right number. It did work, so.
All right, are there any further questions for our vice chair? Hearing none.
Are you running for Senate?
Am I running for Senate? No, but I did reach out. Okay, that's the other thing I did. I reached out to John Newton, who is running for Senate, and we had a nice long phone call, and I think we can work together to do some messaging that I was meaning to do with my Senate campaign. Sounds like he's willing to do a lot of the same messaging, and so we're going to spin up a campaign team for him, and yeah, try our hand out on campaigns for the first time as a caucus. So
Nice.
and we also want to help create resources too for other candidates in the state too. Anything that we create, we'll share with any other candidates in Oregon. So
As long as they have an L.
sorry, say that again.
As long as they have an L.
L.
And they're a
not an R
libertarian.
at the
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. Thank you again, Will. We'll move along to the treasurer's report. Kenny. Sorry, Kenny, let me interrupt myself real quick to say that Pablo just said in the chat that there's a meeting with John Newton, the Senate candidate, later this week. And please let Pablo know if you want to volunteer for the campaign support teams. Go ahead, Kenny.
So we actually have about $7,300 in the bank at the moment. And that is in large part due to Statements for Liberty, I think, the PAC that Kyle was dealing with, which has decided to shut down and sent their remaining funds to us. So I thank them for that. That also means we have met the threshold for the matching contributions that was suggested at the last meeting, or where people pledged at the last meeting. So feel free to make those contributions. As such, I would like to move that we issue a $7,000 reimbursement check to Kyle.
Point of information, how much do we still owe Kyle? Is it just $7,000 or is it more than that?
No, it's more than that. Let me have a moment.
Sure. I'll follow up with my thought. I don't know if Kyle wants the money sooner and in pieces, or if he's willing to wait for a couple of days. I'll make sure that I get my contribution in. I believe everybody else who made pledges is still on this, is on this call as well. If we can just get him one check, that might be preferable. Kyle, do you have any thought on that?
Yeah, I can wait a little while. One's better.
And
I'm
it also
sorry.
might be easier for our treasurer. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Will.
less reporting work too.
I'm so sorry. My speakers cut out. I'm at my mother's. My internet connection isn't great. I heard 7, and then what was it? Did you say 700 or 7,000?
1,000.
So is in our bank.
So
we have about 7,300 in the bank.
7,300 in the bank. Oh wow! And a lot of that was due to the what PAC that was going.
Statements for Liberty.
Statements for Liberty. Okay.
We owe Kyle approximately $10,770.
okay, so even with the $2,100 in pledges coming in, we wouldn't quite cover. It'd still be fewer checks if we wait a few days. So Kyle, do you have any further thoughts with that further information?
It's fine. You can wait a little while.
All right. I'll kick it back to Kenny.
Yeah, I'll withdraw the motion to make it clean. Is everyone here that had pledged? I think Peter has already made his contribution. Is everybody else that had pledged matching funds able to make their contribution within the next couple of days?
Here I put it up on the screen. So myself for 1,000, William Johnson Jr. for 100, Marion Skinner for 400, Peter Vandenberg for 100, Pablo Serrato for 200, Leon Noble for an additional 100 beyond the, I believe he said 200 that he had pledged before, and then yourself, Kenny, for 200.
Kenny, can we just go to the website right now and donate?
Yeah, you can just go to our website and donate.
So
Right.
lporegon.org/donate for those of us who have matching funds to contribute.
Or anybody else that wants to donate. We're still
Or
short.
or anybody else. Thank you for pointing that out.
I don't want to
um,
be exclusive. We're inclusive in the Libertarian Party. You're more than welcome to donate anytime you would like.
We even accept Federal Reserve notes. There's a question in the chat. Does anybody know what Statements for Liberty is? Statements for Liberty is a political action committee, or was a political action committee. I'll need Kyle to clarify that. It's been primarily headed up by Kyle, although I believe there's a couple other board members at least warming some seats. And the purpose of that political action committee was to fund and write statements for LPO candidates to get their statements in the voters guide. But I believe, and Kyle can speak to why the dissolution and money. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yes, well summarized. That's what we used to do. But my partner has been not able to do much and been looking to get out for a while. So also with the public policy board coming along, the party can do this instead. So there wasn't a real reason to maintain. So we're shutting down, fold into the party, and that's fine.
Okay, so basically the party or specifically the public policy board can fulfill those same functions. So Kyle and any other members of that organization's board decided to just fold their funds and operation into ours. All right, Leon, your hand is raised. Do you have a question on this?
I was going to comment on why it went into the bank account for Marion, but I think that's been handled, so I'll lower my hand.
All right, thank you. Is there, I'll kick it back to Kenny. Anything further for the treasurer's report?
I will make a motion that we reimburse Kyle for up to $9,000, depending on the level of contributions we receive in the next few days.
I'm going to say that probably isn't in order.
We need a specific amount.
We do need a specific amount.
Okay.
And we can't, can we encumber funds we haven't brought in yet? Can we pre-spend money?
Does Kyle?
Someone else tell me.
I think in the past we have done it before. We've authorized spending for an uncertain amount, but by putting a cap on what that amount is.
I see. All right. In that case, Kenny, how about you just put a date on it? Maybe this weekend.
Okay.
And then the cap, like Kyle's saying.
Okay. Then send a reimbursement to Kyle Markley by Monday, the 18th of up to $9,000.
Okay, that's the motion. This does require a roll call vote, so I'll ask our secretary to prepare for taking that roll call.
Does that mean you're seconding the motion, Kyle?
I will second that motion.
Okay.
I frequently get tripped up on that. And Taylor, when you're ready, go ahead and take the roll.
All right. Let me see. All right, so Kenny moves and Timothy seconds to pay Kyle back up to $9,000 before the Monday the 18th?
By the 18th, yeah.
By the 18th? Okay. Let me just make sure I get that wording right. All right. So Timothy Perkins,
Aye.
Will Hobson,
Aye.
Kenny Surname.
Aye.
Sorry. Peter Vandenberg,
Aye.
Tim Sipple,
Aye.
hold on. Sorry, I gotta scroll back one more page. William Johnson Jr.
I see William Johnson Jr. is not muted, but we are not hearing anything.
I hear, you got me now? Aye.
There we got you.
All right.
Sorry, Will, could I ask a question real quick before you get started, if you don't mind?
Can we not interrupt the roll call? Just
Oh, sorry, I thought,
we aren't quite done yet. Just one more minute. Thank you, Taylor.
I vote aye. So it's unanimous. The ayes have it.
Did we get Kyle in that vote?
No.
No, I'm sorry. Kyle, do you want to be paid back?
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous. I'm so sorry about that, Kyle. All right, perfect. The motion passes.
Thank you. All right,
welcome.
and now Peter, you had a question.
I apologize. I thought the vote had concluded. Without objection, I would like to share the proposed bylaws for today's meeting with Marion Skinner. I've noticed a potential issue with them, and I would like her to get her expert opinion on them.
Kyle, is there any reason that we can't be sharing those around for having more eyes on them? Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
that should be great. Thank you, Marion, for
Appreciate that, Kyle.
volunteering. All right. Kicking it back to the treasurer once again, in case there's anything else.
I don't have anything else. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know Marion had a question in the chat, but I think that's more, I want to say William Johnson Jr.'s question. Because it's relating to fundraising.
I have nothing
So,
on
I only specified that, like, the reason for this was for it to be used toward fundraising efforts. But all I specified as far as conditions for my matching funds was that it would be later than the conclusion of the tallying of our primary election. So I don't know if other people who also pledged felt differently about their pledges, but I'm ready to go ahead and drop my $1,000 and yep. I guess I should state what the question was. The question was, since Marion's pledge and the others were for a fundraising match, is there a plan to do some messaging around that? So that's the context for my answer there. Anything further for the treasurer? Hearing none.
No,
Go ahead.
I got
Will.
a question. Sorry. Did the $1,000 match the from the Mises Caucus scheme in? Okay, good. Yep, that's all. Thank you.
And I got that information back to Jeff at to meet with caucus.
Awesome.
He asked me. All right, moving along. Taylor, our secretary's report.
Thank you. So this last month has been a little bit busy. I won the Libertarian nomination for Oregon House District 20, and I will be setting up a coffee with the candidates later this month and beginning of next month with Oregon House District 21 nominee Michael Morrow to reach voters. I attended the Marion and Polk County Libertarian meetup. Garrett Leeds stepped aside, so Michael and I are heading it up, and we're both working to affiliate Marion and Polk. My main focus is going to be on the upcoming election, so I reached out to the local papers and let them know that I'm running and posted on social media, and that was my busy month on top of work and family, but that's irrelevant.
Congratulations. Are there
Thank you.
any questions for Mr. Ricky?
Do you have time to record some stuff off the script for me so I can get it on some media?
Leon, you're a little bit quiet. I'm not sure if you need to eat the mic a little or.
I'll eat the mic a little more. Do you have time to record some stuff for Set Oregon Free, Taylor, so I can get into? We've got somebody who wants to kick it out around for us.
I am busy this weekend, but by next Tuesday or Wednesday, I should have something for you. I will send that over.
Sounds good. We can, if you want, I can come over and to the valley and we can film it if you'd like. It's short.
That would be great. Yeah. You got my cell phone number?
No, but we can fix that down the road.
To you. So yeah, that'll work.
All right.
And perfect.
Okay, we will move along now to reports of committees and directors. First up is LJ for campaigns.
How's it going, everybody? Not much going on my end. I got the list of nominees and ties and all that from the voting compiled, and I think I got that over to you in an email, Tim, if I remember right. And that's about everything on my end.
All right. Yep, LJ and I started working together on getting the contact lists for our candidates all put together, hoping to have as many phone numbers and emails as possible. And that work is not yet concluded, but it has begun, and I expect all of our candidates to be rounded up by the beginning of this next month. Thank you, LJ. Are there any questions for campaigns?
LJ, you're gonna hit me up one of these days, right?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. My personal life's been a little bit chaotic. I had a death in the family, amongst other things. But yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving along from campaigns, we have fundraising. William Johnson Jr.
Well, I just was over there trying to make my donation, but I donated to National. So I got to make another donation here in a minute, Kenny, to LPO Oregon. Oh, well, it's to a good cause, right? Anyway, my life is settling down a little bit, and I should have a little more time for Liberty, but currently I'm still struggling and have not been keeping up. I'm thankful that we are well on our way to paying Kyle back, but we're not all the way there. But the fundraising needs to extend beyond paying Kyle back. Marion, I got your email today about the store. I don't know. I I think we're right there. I don't know why it's, it's just linking what Nicholas had to the website. So,
Is it all right if I answer that real quick?
yeah, absolutely.
Without objection, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I haven't actually logged into the store in the past, couple weeks or so because I hadn't heard back from anybody. But has there been a bank account linked into it? Because that's what I'm trying to do is we can't put it up until there's a
Is
place for the
Nicholas
money to go.
Kaltenbach the primary person who set it up?
Yes, but I have all of the logins and credentials and stuff, and the very
Okay.
last thing that he passed off to me was that it needs a bank account.
All right. Kenny, we need, if possible, for you, and I think Marion is probably the best bet, for you two to have a Zoom call or something to get our bank information to the t-shirt vendor so that we can get paid when people buy the shirts. And I see Pablo raising his hand, so without objection, if you have something relevant, Pablo, go ahead.
Yes. Once Marion has that link and that bank set up, all we need to do is add a merchandise or a shop link to the LPO website, and we can do that. We can do that the minute that is settled. So, good news.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
So, Marion, would you send Kenny an email, kenny.cernak at lporegon.org?
So another one.
Oh, another one. I see. Kenny, what do you have to say for yourself?
I don't know. I don't recall getting one, but I have been
Okay.
tried. So
I will. I'm a little past my brain bedtime, but I will go check right now and see if I've got everything in order there and resend if I need to.
Marion, you're awesome. I don't have the keys to that website. So this is, the store. So that's good that you have it from Nick. And we're that close to getting it set up. It just sounds like a place to get paid. So this is great. And we'll throw it on the website. So
I see it now. I got an email yesterday, it looks like. Does that sound right, Marion? Well, it looks like it's yesterday.
I'm sorry. I had a screen in front of my controls. Yeah, and I just sent you another one with the keys to the store so you can log in very easily.
Okay. I will look into that probably maybe Sunday or Monday when I'll have a little time.
Yeah, and I was it sounded a little daunting for me before I went in there too. It's a very user-friendly site.
Okay. Thank you.
Which site was this?
It's Creator Spring.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you. Looking forward to having some t-shirts. Any further questions or comments for fundraising? Hearing none. Public Relations, Will Hobson.
Yeah, pretty much covered that. This is my vice chair report. I guess in addition, I created a graphic for easy use for affiliates to post to get people to register as libertarians online. And I just realized I had meant to post some pictures from Reno on our national accounts, and I will hop on top of that tonight. That's it.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Public Relations before we move on? Next is the data director, Kyle.
Hello, I guess I'll take data and bylaws together. I also had a very busy month this month, work-wise, family-wise, so I haven't had a lot of time to do things. And essentially nothing has happened on the data front. There's really nothing to report. I didn't even contact them about getting our updated voter information into the CRM. That was the one thing that I wanted to do, and even that did not get done. So nothing to report there. On the bylaws side, I took the past proposals from the election and I edited them into the bylaws document, and I sent that out for review, and then sent out a follow-up for review with some fixes. And we're going to be talking about that later on.
Yes,
So I don't need to talk about it now.
It occurred to me after I realized that your report was coming up that I really could have put that item under bylaws instead of unfinished and new business, but
it's fine. We'll take it later. So there's nothing else to report.
All right. Thank you, Kyle. Any questions on data or bylaws?
I have a question about the bylaws. I think we'll cover that in the other agenda item.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Kyle. Website. Not too much happening on the website front. Just at this moment. We ran into a little bit of a obstacle with regards to we have some great volunteers who've come onto the website committee, but the web design software that kind of our most experienced new volunteer is used to using, it was his understanding that in order to use that software, we would need to switch our hosting, and the hosting options were not didn't seem like they would cover everything that we need, such as emails, for example. We wouldn't have lporegon.org emails with that hosting. And it was unclear as to whether we would have room in the back end to do things like our database management. So that's a bit of a roadblock. We're still working toward figuring out what will happen moving forward, but still excited to have the fresh blood on board. Also want to say that Pablo specifically has been helping out with making some changes. He made an events page on the website, and he is also working on redesigning a part of the website that I wasn't happy with, but also hadn't managed to prioritize. I see a couple hands raised. I'm going to go with the director first. So go ahead, Kyle.
What was the name of the desired software? And in the conversations, did you consider hosting it with National?
Right. So there was a question in there as to what would happen. So my understanding from Mr. Bork, or yes, Bork, was that he understood that in order to use, I believe it's webflow.io, in order to use that, then we would need to have hosting with Webflow, which wouldn't provide everything that we needed, and then also would potentially be an obstacle if we wanted to have our website hosted with LP National later on. So that was another consideration as to why we were reluctant to switch that hosting around.
Thank you.
All right. Without objection, we'll hear from Pablo.
Great, thank you. So, Mr. Chair, just a quick question. Would it be appropriate at some point to give an update as to where we are on the project? Eric is able to help us work, basically make the WordPress site that we currently have more usable.
Mm-hmm.
And we're open to doing so. And so one of those projects we're taking on now is redesigning that affiliates experience page. And so at some point, I think we should call a meeting of the website committee perhaps to sort of evaluate what our backlog is or revive an email thread. But yeah, there are projects undergoing for site improvement. We're just not sure where to start.
Great. I can't give you a specific meeting time right now, but at any point, feel free to kind of call for one, if you will, and I'll do my best to make it. All right. Pablo, your hand is still up, so I just want to check before moving on. Did you have anything else? Hands down.
Just forgot to lower it.
Thank you. All right. Anything else for website committee? Hearing none. The affiliate committee. Katie is not in the meeting. Will, did you have a meeting?
Yeah.
The affiliate committee. You want to give us an update on that, if you're willing?
Yeah, I'll speak somewhat for Katie in this. I did speak with her last night, and we did have we had a meeting that unfortunately she wasn't able to attend on Monday, where the other members of the committee, essentially we just talked and kind of talked about grand strategy as far as affiliate formation goes. And I spoke with Katie after that meeting the next day, and she is in general agreement with, I'd say, like 98% of it. Yeah, we would, as soon as she gets back from her camping trip or whatnot with her daughter's in like summer camp, and I guess she's there too as a volunteer. But once she gets back, she's going to share with me a document that she has of the contact information and the leadership. She's kind of identified different members of different counties in the LP that might be good candidates for leadership of different affiliates. And yeah, basically, just in brief, we're about to launch, I think, our like a unified strategy and messaging for basically forming county affiliates. And make it really quick and to sum up the strategy is basically we're going to kind of preach to new members as far as like when they ask like, hey, what can I do to help the party? I'm brand new, don't know what to do, but I want to help. I just don't know what. We're going to preach and like, hey, don't ask for permission. Go ahead and start a social group for your like libertarian social group for your county. Don't worry about getting into the highly technical like try to form the official affiliate right away. Don't worry about like looking up how do you form a PAC, how do you form how do you get a treasurer. Sorry, not a PAC. Excuse me, but like how to get a treasurer all set up, how to find out exactly how many people you have to have, how to write up bylaws and have a convention. Just get basically just get your social group going. Try to like hold some local events. We'll try to direct members to your affiliates via the county channels in our Discord. You can coordinate there. Then if you want to spin up some social media accounts and then let us know that you've created those social media accounts, we can all start doing coordinated messaging together where we all the other county affiliates social media pages follow each other, and we take coordinated action, kind of not unlike what Spike Cohen has done really well and kind of perfected as far as like calling out agencies of the federal government when they do wrong things or particular bad political actors. And basically this gives new members something to do. It increases our visibility on the internet. More people see a multitude of what looks like libertarian groups, even if they only have one person doing things. And I think that will attract attention. It'll attract membership or at least interest, and that we can take advantage of that to make them members. And I plan to do a meeting with people interested in being leaders in the different county affiliates sometime this summer. As soon as Katie gets back, we'll coordinate that, and then we'll have a big Zoom call where we kind of disseminate this new strategy and kind of give people the green light to go ahead and make these accounts and we'll probably create a special channel in the Discord where we coordinate messaging and topics that were important to us, and try not to get people to wander too far off the message. I know some people are concerned about us taking stances that other libertarians would not find appealing. So this kind of coordinated effort would I hope keep us more or less in line. So yeah, look forward to that in the future. We'll be doing more of that soon.
All right, thank you, Will.
Sorry, if
we
I could just
have-
tack on real quick as far as affiliates goes, because I'm also on that committee. And I was able to meet with Will and Aiden, who was at the last meeting that we had. Just like to say that Multnomah County has been regularly meeting once a month for, I believe, 4 months now. They nominated a treasurer for their, I guess I don't know what you're calling it yet, guy named Tom, who's cool. And they actually have minutes, so they definitely seem the most organized of any group so far. I know they're getting really close to nearing the number they need to. Oh yeah, thanks, Multnomah County Libertarians. This is the social media. This is the website. I was going to drop the website, but yeah. So if you live in Multnomah County, any observers are near Multnomah County, please go to our website and join us on one Saturday a month at Primal Burger. The guy is an ANCAP. He's a cool guy, so it's a good place to hang out.
Fantastic. Without objection, a couple of observers have raised their hands. I'm going to recognize Aaron first.
Yeah, Will, you gave that little laundry list of why you guys feel like affiliates are a benefit. Is there anything politically within the political parties in the state that affiliates do? I'm just curious about beyond just finding local people around you and growing the liberty movement that way. Is there anything beyond that that the affiliates do? Or gives benefit to the party?
Yeah, of course. And again, I'm speaking for Katie in this sense. I'm not the world's most knowledgeable about the exact affiliates, all the different ins and outs. But yes, affiliates theoretically, the end evolution of an affiliate is a robust county level, essentially, party that can fund candidates, that can support local issues, that coordinates meetings, and puts out messaging. And this is basically, we're trying to figure out a way, because the party, we don't have affiliates like other states do. They have multiple, well fleshed out county level affiliates. We are trying to kind of create that network for the first time. So I'm trying to figure out the first rungs on the ladder of getting to that point. Yes. I mean, again, that's kind of why we want to make the slogan, don't ask for permission, essentially, for the county affiliates. It's if you want to do something and you feel compelled, don't wait for our permission, especially if you're already unofficial. We can't really stop you. If you call yourself libertarians, we can't officially endorse you, but we don't have the resources to rein you in. And even if we wanted to, we'd only do that, I guess, if there was a particularly bad malicious actor trying to smear our namesake. And I don't see that really being too much of a risk right now, while we're trying to form the inception level of these affiliates. But yes, the end goal is to create essentially the county level of the party. So Phil, if you have a nice local candidate and you want your unofficial social group of libertarians to support them, go for it. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Cool. Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to tack on to there that I think that if things are more local, you're going to get more buy-in, more volunteers, more donors, more candidates. I think that, we have 16 people at this meeting right now, and that's kind of a lot for these meetings. I'd really prefer that we had, 10 people at a meeting, but in every county in the state, that would be at actually much higher level of participation, orders of magnitude higher. So then also the counties are good at some things that we aren't. Nonpartisan elections comes to mind. Also organizing social events, having the state party organize events for Lincoln County and Morrow County and Sherman County and Multnomah County. It's not something that we do because it would be too much. And then also just when you're more local, you get to see each other, talk to each other more, get to know each other better. And I think that that's a healthier way to build culture. So I also want to recognize Leon.
I'm really thrilled. I'm just going to mention that I'm really thrilled that we've gotten so far since I presented this as a point of growth last year at the convention. I also want to point out that we just had a primary election that had less than 400 votes out of 21,000 theoretical ballots sent out, and that affiliates at the local county level, conversations being held at the local county level will change that so that we have a lot more votes coming back in on our primaries and a lot more growth. If we want to grow, we have to have affiliates because the state cannot connect with every individual in the state. The county affiliates need to connect with every individual in their counties and then represent their individuals to the state.
All right. Thank you, Leon.
That information is on the LPO YouTube, isn't it? Isn't that presentation on there?
I'm not sure what information you're referring to.
That would be the address at the end of the convention last year.
I believe that it's probably at the end of the convention video. Yeah. All right. Want to move along now to member development. Peter.
Thank you. So I guess start out, I also called 833 Stop War. If you haven't done that yet, please do that. The big first project of the National Libertarian Party from member development from the, I guess, national level was to try to stop the war in Yemen. Please help us do that. There's a chance we can actually make this happen. Been kind of busy myself. I guess everything's pretty good. Besides, I haven't had like a working car like 2 weeks now, almost like in and out. Like I had one starter go out and then I had another starter go out because I think it was installed improperly the first time, or it was just a bad part. But anyways, I've been kind of stranded here in my new house in Milwaukee, which I guess has its perks sometimes. But I guess the Oregon Mises Twitter is now approaching 1,700 followers. I think we're going to get to 2 grand real soon. Still hovering around 1,000 on Instagram. I've been told that our engagement on Facebook has been pretty good. We've been cross-posting. Very excited to see the new messaging coming out of national. And I've been working as far as I can to keep their posts moving and sharing them when possible. I really like the new aggressive strategy that we're taking in regards to things like the CIA and war and really everything. I'm really excited to align on some policy positions as the Public Policy Board rolls out so we can get the LPO, social media, off the ground on the things that we actually agree on. So happy to help with that. There are some events coming up that I think we were talked about a little bit earlier, but just to highlight, because we didn't really go into any detail. Will has a Jackbox party event every Friday for anyone that wants to join. So heard that's a lot of fun. Been a while since I played that game, but hanging out with Will is always a good time. So I know Will is also doing a foraging class, it looks like, every Sunday for the next 3 Sundays.
This Sunday and next Sunday at least. I might tack on one more, and I plan to do more classes in the future. But yeah.
Yeah, so I went foraging with Will. My wife and I did. and we got some great mushrooms, and we cooked them up and ate them on top of a steak that same night. So
And they didn't die. So
that's the important part. Yeah. Well,
Killed.
it's taking a really long time if you did poison me. It's been over a month now, I think, one longer. So it's not very good poison if that was your intent. But I guess the long and the short is there's a number of events coming up. Then I would like to use the Meetup account without any objection to start promoting these events. I can let people know as these events come up if anyone's curious, but definitely would not do anything that is not aligned with the party's principles or any stated positions taken by the party.
So the meetup is asset of Kyle's. Kyle, as long as the event is intended for libertarians, even if it's not necessarily political, are you okay with it being on the meetup?
Yeah, just toss it on.
All right.
Appreciate that, Kyle. I think that is most of what I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I would like to nominate Pablo Serrato to the Member Development Committee. And I would like to also share the keys to the meetup with Pablo.
I second it.
All right. Peter moves and Will seconds. Is there any objection to adding Pablo Serrato to the Member Development Committee? And I would also encourage Pablo to object if Pablo has an objection. Hearing no objection, as long as he's willing to accept it, Pablo is now on the Member Development Committee. And Kyle, I assume you would be fine with Pablo also being able to post the meetup.
Yes, definitely.
All right, great. I see a hand raise from Kenny.
It got mentioned one too many times, so I had a question. The 833 Stop Wars thing, is that mostly just to get us not involved, or does it actually push us to pressure other combatants to de-escalate?
It makes it so that it is a resolution by Congress that directs the president not to support, materially support or financially support the Saudi invasion of Yemen.
And in no way were Will and I endorsing the LPO saying you should do this. We were endorsing this as individuals.
Yep, I understand. It just got brought up one too many times and that question popped into my head. And I may have missed it if it was discussed earlier, or I don't know, but so I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone who has any questions on that, feel free to DM me on the Discord server. I can answer your questions about that.
It'll just cycle you through all your reps and you can leave messages for them, or sometimes somebody actually answers.
Really quick point of information. Is there anyone else that's under the impression that they're on the membership development committee? Because right now I just have Peter and Pablo, according to our committees of the LPO document.
Yes, I'll take the prerogative, since this is my committee, to ask if anyone would like to be nominated that is an observer here to help us organize.
Would anyone else like to be on the Member Development Committee?
I would be willing if you would like.
Sure. I will nominate Leon to be on this committee.
And I'll second.
All right, Peter moves and Will seconds. Is there any objection to having Leon on the Member Development Committee? Hearing none, it is done. Thank you, Leon. If we don't have anything else, we'll move along. All right, unfinished and new business. The 2022 primary election. Ballots got picked up, ballots got tallied. There's still a few loose ends to tie away. First of all, the results are posted on the LP Oregon website. If you hit the big yellow button on the front screen, it should take you directly to those. That page now includes also the results of the bylaws amendment proposal questions. There are some late ballots that that still need to get collected and brought down. And I say brought down here. That doesn't mean they have to be brought to me. I might be the one bringing them down here. But so the materials are not yet all in one place, and I've not finished contacting the candidates, although that's kind of more back in the campaigns committee. It's a little bit of a gray area there. But anyway, there were, as somebody observed, less than 400 timely ballots. The results were that every bylaws amendment proposal referral was passed, all 9 of them. There was a good number of write-ins for candidates. We don't yet know how many of them are going to accept. There is a question here, and I think that we're going to probably spend a couple minutes on discussion because Kyle and I have already had a little bit of back and forth on this. I feel as though I should pull up the bylaws to reference, but our bylaws state that if the primary election does not yield a candidate for a race, then the board may select an eligible LPO member. And there is a question in my mind that I'm inviting discussion on, that as to whether a tied race is producing a result. It has been the tradition of the LPO, and I don't have any problem with this tradition, to roll a D20 in the event of a tie and use that as the way to break a tie. So just, okay, this person got a 16, this person got a 15, person with a 16 gets the nomination. That procedure is not outlined in any policy or bylaw. And the issue that I see is, I think that even choosing to break ties in that fashion is the board making a decision. You know, we could also decide to draw lots in some other way, or we could decide to break ties by choosing between the candidates, or I don't see anything in our bylaws that would provide direction in one way or the other. Anyway, so we do not currently have an official procedure as to how to break ties. And that puts in question as to whether the races that have a tied result have produced a candidate per our bylaws. And so Kyle, you already shared some comments with me, and so I'd like to invite you to share your thoughts on that, and then anybody else. And
Sure.
if you give me just a moment, I'll also pull up the relevant section of the bylaws.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to add. You really covered it. The historical practice was that we would say that there is a result, and the way that we pick the winner was via some random means. And it's been via die rolls or computer generated random numbers, or what have you. But it's always been some random method. If we were to do something different, then that would be a brand new thing, this election.
All right, and I've highlighted the relevant portion of our bylaws. This is Article 8, Section 1A. I don't recall whether this particular language was changed off the top of my head. I have a copy of the new ones that we just amended, so it will be now Article 9. That language doesn't appear to be affected. So Does anyone else have particularly directors? Although here in a minute, I'd be happy to hear from observers as well. Do any directors have thoughts on this?
On this section or all the bylaws?
So this just is talking about if the primary election, I'll just read the language. If the primary election does not yield a nominee for an office, or if the primary election winner and all runners-up are ineligible, unable, or unwilling to be the nominee, or fail to submit their nomination paperwork by a deadline determined by the board, then the board may elect a voting member of the LPO to be the nominee for that office. And the question here really is, if the primary election does not yield a nominee for an office, is a tied result actually does that mean that the primary election produced a nominee? I have a question about as to whether or not that's true, and so I'm seeking input.
Well, it's if I might add, it's talking about a nominee in the singular. So when we have a tied result, we are producing multiple nominees. We're not producing a single nominee. So I think that qualifies.
To be clear, we are not producing multiple nominees. None of them, in my opinion, have received the nomination while it remains tied.
Well, what I'm saying is, I guess that makes sense. I'm not very good at the bylaw stuff, so I'll yield to you. I was just trying to think of a way to possibly, yeah.
I don't think it's possible to have more than one nominee.
Right, but what I'm saying is when we, if the primary election does not yield a nominee for an office, I'm just saying, like, when multiple people tie, it's theoretically it's like it's trying to yield multiple nominees, but it's not yielding a nominee. So I don't know. All right, yeah, I'll shut up.
We have some observers in the chat that tend to agree with Will's interpretation, Mary and Marion. Not that they're voting members, but I'd just like to point that out.
I am happy to hear from observers. I just wanted to give the board a chance to sound off first, but
I think in context of Oregon elections, multiple nominees obviously aren't a thing. So they weren't contemplated at all when the bylaws were written. We can only make one nomination. And I think the question comes down to, did we get somebody from the primary election or not? And it seems very wrong if we had a case of a tie where the voting members of the party appeared to want two candidates equally well, for the board to say, nah, we're going to ignore that and nominate the person that we want instead.
I would like to be clear, I am definitely not in favor of ignoring the tied people. I think we should choose from among the tied people, in my opinion. I'm just talking about as far as officially what guidance the bylaws and our policies provide. Completely agree with you in spirit, Kyle. 100% with you.
Yeah.
So is the question just over, should it be random or should we pick the winner?
My question is, are we considering the ties to mean that it has not yielded a nominee, or do we want to establish a procedure for breaking ties, I guess?
Yeah, I would say the former.
Is there a procedure? I assume there's no, I don't see anything here about a tie.
Right. I went through the bylaws going tie. Where tell me what to do in the case of ties. There isn't, and also there isn't in the policy that we adopted. What we do have is a tradition, and if we want to formalize that tradition as far as rolling a d20, that the board can do that. But
I think that'd be the best bet.
Thank you. William Johnson Jr. had his hand up, so I'd like to recognize him next.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, the tradition. And you made a great point. because it wasn't established, or it's been established. Kyle said so. We can look back and see that we've done this several times in the past. So, you know,
Or at least as long as this iteration of the Libertarian Party of Oregon has been running elections. To my understanding, we've been doing it with a D20. It's just that we don't actually have that written down anywhere. And
but
maybe I'm
we
being
have
too
a
much of a
history of
stickler.
it, right? Like you can point to cases where there was a tie and then we rolled a die or did a computer generated thing. We didn't have a board vote on it. Because I think, Kyle, that is the question, right? I mean, like Kyle boiled it down. It's just, are we random or are we going to pick a winner?
Right. Will.
What do we do though in the case of a three-way tie? Do we use like
You
a
still
D12?
use the D20. You just use the D20 and you say, okay, I'm rolling for candidate A, they got a 10. I'm rolling for candidate B, they got a nat 1. I'm rolling for candidate C, they got a nat 20. Candidate C gets it.
Okay, you just if they tie again in the dice roll, you just keep going until you eliminate.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
That's the tradition, and I'm fine with the tradition, but it's not actually written down. So I have to ask you guys what to do.
And it's not the first time it's been asked. Comes up every election because there's always
We
ties.
can't amend the bylaws as the voting members of the board, can we? So
No.
what are our options?
We can adopt a policy as to how to break ties, and that policy can be by lot. We say that we break ties by lot. Kyle, you would agree with that, right? We do have that ability
Yes.
to make that policy. Yeah.
Yes.
Without objection, I'll hear from a couple of observers. Mary, you raised your hand first. Go ahead.
Yeah. In general, I don't advocate for changing the rules when you're faced with a situation where the rule has to apply right now. So I'm strongly in favor of sticking with tradition and then thinking about it again when we're not in the middle of a primary. I could also see the bylaws certainly indicate that the voices of the board should be taken into account if there is no clear primary winner. So I could see a hybrid system where you roll a D20 but assign ranges to the candidates and the board members get to give sets of 5 or whatever to a range of the candidate. But yeah, that's an interesting creative discussion that should not be happening inside a primary season.
Thank you, Mary. We will move to Leon, who, by the way, his race is not tied.
Thank you. I think that the tradition method is good for the time being, but we should the conversation should continue so that there is a policy or bylaws amendment that comes down the pike for the next one, because if it's happened before, it'll happen again. And I would consider maybe a committee form to I don't know, a debate committee or something to pick the best candidate out of those two, so that it's not just a random, not so much a random chance. Because I don't like paper candidates.
All right, so you're expressing a preference that we do place our finger on the scale in the future.
That somebody place a finger on the scale in the future. It may not have to be the board, maybe a committee of the board formed, like a judicial committee type thing, where it's not necessarily board members, but people who are selected.
Thank you, Leon. All right.
I would move that we adopt the policy of rolling a D20 as the chair has described.
All right. So the motion, if I may restate it, is to Kyle, is this something where we are adopting a whole separate policy, or are we amending our primary election policy? feel like maybe
This sounds in the
separate.
spirit of an amendment to the primary rules.
Okay.
In the past, I think frankly, we didn't even do a formal decision to decide by lot. I think that's just what
I
we
know,
did.
and that's part of why I'm uncomfortable with it, is it wasn't written down anywhere. And so then we're choosing candidates based on a procedure that isn't
Although, if
written
we
down.
amend,
Yeah.
if we do amend the policy now, it should be in there when we do this again in 2 years, right?
No, this policy is renewed each cycle. So
Right,
we
but
would,
we generally start with the previous policy. So if we actually update our document with this amendment, it'll be in there and we'll think about it when we do the policy next.
yep. All right, so Peter, I'm stating your motion and then let me know if this is incorrect. You would like to amend our policy for the primary election of 2022 to implement a procedure for tie breaking where a D20 is rolled for each tied candidate, and the candidate with the highest number receives the nomination. And if there are ties on the rolled numbers that affect that outcome, then additional rounds of rolling are conducted until the tie is broken.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your eloquence in restating my motion.
All right. Does Peter's motion have a second?
I'll second.
Kenny seconds. Is there any objection? Okay. Thank you all for accommodating my sticklerness.
I might have just said that after each die roll, the race is evaluated to see if the policy needs to apply again. But to each their own.
We don't need a dungeon master.
We can amend it in the next cycle to be better. All right. I think that's it for 2022 primary election. I believe that it will be the primary election committee that conducts that D20 roll-off. It doesn't need to be the board right now. It's getting late. So unless there's anything else, we're moving along. The approval of the updated LPO bylaws and constitution. I'm gonna kick this over to Kyle.
Okay, so as the board members hopefully saw.
Kyle, sorry, would you like to share your screen?
No, I'm sorry, I don't have the
Okay.
document on this computer. I'm in.
I do. I can share.
Purgatory today on a different machine. That's why my picture is wrong.
Or unless you have it, Timothy.
Yeah, I found it. Sorry.
So make sure that you share the version 2.
Okay, you should be able to see at the top of the document that this is the changes to version.
Oh wow, you have the font. And that's not even, I think, what it's supposed to look like. That's weird.
I just downloaded the file and opened it in LibreOffice.
Okay.
All
Are
right,
you viewing it with the
so
changes?
Right, so if I scroll down here, it didn't show up with typical
but this is good.
change
Yeah.
tracking, but this is adequate for seeing what the changes were.
Yes. So as I put this together, I did it kind of in a hurry and while I was tired, which is why I sent out in the email that I really wanted people to look at it, hopefully before the meeting, to find the problems in it. But I did the best that I could on combining everything from all the amendments and putting them in this document. Many of the changes affected multiple places, So you have to jump around if you're trying to go through in order. And it's the sort of thing that a thorough review is just time consuming. And we probably should not try to do a thorough review of it online here altogether. And that I feel like individual homework and send comments is the right way to approach it, unless a number of people are willing to say that they looked at it and it looked fine.
I know Peter said he had a question. I haven't had a chance to thoroughly look at it yet.
I looked at it, but not very thoroughly, not as thoroughly as I would have liked to. Kyle, I already shared with you, and one of the things in that change was implemented in the second version of the document. But let's kick it over to Peter if he still would like to share.
Yeah, I confess that I also did not read it before the meeting, so that's my bad, Kyle. Sounds like a lot of us didn't, so I would not be opposed to us not approving it at this meeting if that wouldn't affect anything negatively. Otherwise, we can look at the question that I had.
Yeah, I believe it doesn't affect anything, and we can go ahead and kick it to next time if we're all going to do our homework.
One question on that. We're supposed to submit it to the Secretary of State. I think that there's a deadline on that. It might be within 30 days, it might be within 60 days, it might be within 90 days, it might be within a year. I don't know.
Yes,
Do you know?
we are supposed to, and there is a deadline, and it's in that ORS that I put in the email. I think it was 30 days, but it's got to be 30 days from when we actually have the text, and we don't yet.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. I'm gonna go look at it, and go ahead, Peter. You had something specific, so let me know where to scroll to.
Sure. If you could go to the new Article 9, I believe, is elections, right?
Yes.
I had a question about the wording of, I believe it is the second paragraph of Article 9. It says, at least on my version, it says the LPO may allow voting members to opt in to implement a method of electronic voting.
So this is the thing that I caught and was discussed with Kyle before, and so that was changed in the second version that was sent out.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, so the document that I have open here is the follow-up version. Sorry, there we go. Kyle made some revisions. Kyle, were there other revisions besides that one?
No, that was the only one that I changed.
Okay.
And the issue, if you went and looked at them both, was that the plain text was actually the text that had the deletions and the insertions both. And it was supposed to be the text as viewed in the 3-column views, which would be just the final text from that.
Right. So it seemed like it was maybe a copy and paste of a change tracking.
Yes, that's exactly how it happened. And and if you go through the history, the error actually occurred in 2019, and it was never caught until now.
Now, to be clear, in the 3-column version, it was always correct.
Yes, it was just the single
just in the
text.
summary that it was incorrect. But the 3-column version always reflected the intent, and the 3-column version is, I believe, what's reflected right here.
Yes.
Peter, you didn't look at it until the meeting, and yet you still caught that. So, hey, you can feel good about that.
It was like second on my
Catching it
list
on
of
the last one.
priorities, so yeah, I got to it quick.
All right. So what I'm hearing is that people would prefer to finalize approval of this later. Does anybody have a different point of view that they want to express?
I also promise to look at them thoroughly before the deadline within a reasonable amount of time, next couple of days.
Thank you. And comments by email, I think, are the way to go, so we can all see and follow along with any changes that may be needed.
Agreed.
Hopefully that'll all keep us doing it sooner rather than later, because if it winds up being the night before again, then people will be rushed to try to get it done. So earlier is better.
All right. so we are tabling this. I am still looking up that ORS. It may be that it would count from the conclusion of our primary, which would be an uncomfortably short amount of time to get this figured out. So I'm trying to find it.
I've got the text. I can read it to you.
Sure.
A minor political party shall file copies of any changes to its organizational documents relating to the nomination of candidates for public office not later than 30 days after the date any changes were made. Since it's talking about changes to our organizational documents, we haven't finalized those changes yet. So I think the timer starts running when we approve the new text. That's my interpretation.
I can definitely see an interpretation where the clock started ticking when our primary election concluded. I obviously prefer yours.
Yes.
I would think the intent was what Timothy just said, but the way it's worded, it sounds like we can get away with what Kyle is saying.
I'll also observe that the law doesn't appear to provide for any penalties.
Is it not under the general section? Sorry, sometimes the penalties are just listed for the entire chapter of the OORS.
Nothing that I'd ever seen. No.
Okay. I'd still like to get this turned around as quickly as we can. So
Agreed.
can we have a deadline be like this weekend?
Yeah, I think the soft deadline of having them submitted by Monday is probably good, since it's 30 days from the election anyways, and that gives us the weekend to discuss.
Okay, so do any of the observers want a copy of the changes and the documents that show what changes were supposed to be made? If you do, drop a note in the chat. Marion, I think Peter may have sent you the unrevised version, but the only change, as Kyle said, is going to be with regards to basically proposal number 2, electronic voting. So happy to get you an updated version if you want. All right. Okay. So we don't need any sort of a motion on this, just everybody please, and it doesn't have to literally be every single one of us, but I encourage as many of us as can to review the changes, make sure that everything's accurate, because we're going to submit it to the Secretary of State, and then it's going to be more of an issue if we catch something after that.
And everyone, all the voting directors anyway, should be available over the weekend for an email vote to approve the document.
We will be whipping those votes via text and email.
Great.
All right, I'm going to switch back to the agenda. Thank you, everyone. You have your homework.
Don't adjourn yet. I have a question.
All right. Well, we do have one more item under new business, but is your question related to what we were just discussing?
No.
Okay. Well, it'll wait for open forum then.
Yes.
The 2023 LPO Convention Committee, Will.
You
You are the chair, by the way. That can be part of your report.
The convention committee has been started. We had our first meeting. We worked out a document that we can submit to different venues. Thank you, Leon Noble, for that. getting the ball rolling for that. And I believe right now members of the committee are currently seeking out different venues. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't been as on top of that as I have been other things. But we are currently searching for a venue for next year's convention. And the search continues. And anyone that would like to help with that search, if you're interested, we could use some volunteers to help look for places. We set a deadline for yesterday. For what, Leon? Remind me, I'm sorry, we didn't take minutes for that meeting, so it's probably why I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
I think what Leon is saying is we wanted everybody to have sent out RFPs to various venues, and then we wanted to be meeting again around this time with ones that have been returned. And
Yeah,
I suspect it didn't go out.
It was set to
far as
make
we had wanted.
we can make a decision. Is what it was.
To make a decision on which venue?
Yeah, so we can move forward with contract negotiations and stuff like that.
Has anybody heard back from any venues?
I heard back from Eastside Convention Center.
So we're starting to dive into.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Right. Yeah. Let's set a date for our next the next meeting of the convention committee. Would people be opposed to I'm busy tomorrow and Friday. Although I guess I could do an earlier meeting on Friday. Would people be opposed to 6 o'clock Friday meeting of the convention committee?
I'm unavailable on Friday.
Okay.
I think that one might be tough for me. I'm double checking.
Okay. How about then maybe a Monday meeting? Usually Mondays are pretty freed up for people. Maybe like a 7 or
Monday evening. I have a regular commitment.
Okay. Sunday
afternoon would be. Oh, but not this Sunday afternoon. Dang it.
Sunday's a little tight for me. Maybe how about Tuesday or Wednesday?
Okay, Tuesday.
If we have to.
Yeah, let's do a Tuesday meeting at let's say 7. Or
I can make that.
Okay, cool. Let's do Tuesday at 7. And we'll start working on that. Yeah, other than that, I don't have a lot to report on that, but we will get working on it. And the other little tidbit is I did speak to John Newton. He is interested in if we can find one in time before he has to submit his candidate statement, using his candidate statement to advertise for the time and the place of the convention for next year. So
even if we don't get the super specifics nailed down, his statement could say, hey, we're holding a convention. You can learn more at lporegon.org/2023 convention or something.
Sure. And
that statement won't go out until October. So
right. And so I think we can figure it out in time. But definitely. Yeah. Would love to use the candidate statements for cheap advertising. Very, very cheap advertising.
Yeah, I think that all of our candidates should try to have something in their candidate statement for that. I plan on doing it.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Love to hear that. All right, so Tuesday at 7 p.m. will be the next 2023 LPO Convention Committee meeting.
Okay, great. We now have open forum, so observers may speak on any item that they wish, and I'm going to give preference to observers, but then Kenny, you can chime in with whatever you had. So I see Leon's hand raised. Go ahead.
I will defer to Kenny though.
Okay. I just had a question for Kyle and Tim. If you're willing, could you let me know what kind of engineers you guys are? Because the Oyster people are beyond stupid. And I may need to report more specific than engineer now, although that's been acceptable for years and years. So
Electrical for me.
I suppose put me down as a software engineer. I don't know what my official title is right now, and it has changed.
I kind of hope that in the future nurses tell me that they wipe asses, so I can put that on the Oyster.
My wife actually tells me I'm retired. Would I be better off putting that down?
Then I just mark you as not employed.
Yeah.
As opposed to self-employed. So, you know, whatever you put in there, I will happily report.
Yes, I was highly amused to see that come back from the Secretary of State. Like, you know, we've done many transactions with Kyle Markley being marked as an engineer, but nope, this time we have to know what kind of engineer.
I'm just really hoping that they don't decide that they can fine me for it. Because then I'm going to have to actually fight it.
You should fight that anyway.
Peter is an anti-government engineer and would like that to be reflected in the future. All right, we're going to go back to Leon.
I feel your pain. They wouldn't let me use entrepreneur to start the candidate committee, yet Nick Hess had entrepreneur in his candidate committee filing. So I went about that for like a week with them. They were just jerks about it. Anyway, that's what I wanted to report. Noble for Balance, Oregon has been filed with the state Secretary of State. That's 22238 for those who are caring about numbers like that. And Set Oregon Free was formed as a PAC, 22239. Yes, I did them back to back. They were formed, they were banked, they had money donated to them to establish a bank. And sorry, that's why I haven't put my pledge in, is because I funded that. We have a donation
question for you. It's
okay.
setoregonfree.com.
Setoregonfree.com is the website. Yes.
Okay, and then the Set Oregon Free PAC, is that its name?
Set Oregon Free is the name of the PAC. Yes.
Okay, and that number is
22239.
22239, and then the Noble for Balance is that number is 22238.
Correct.
All right, I'm making sure that these end up in the show notes.
So my intention, and I've stated this intention for well over a year, Set Oregon Free is to be a marketing arm for Libertarian candidates and ideas and the like. So to give you an example, the Set Oregon Free PAC is, since we didn't get it done, we're going to resend both 22-54, which was the Universal Safety Act, and 2256, which was the end civil asset forfeiture that Michael Morrow put in. And then we have several more that we've been working on. And at this point, I'm going to reiterate, because I've iterated it a lot, that we are looking for help for and discussion for all of those ballot initiatives that we're trying to get moving. We're looking for people to not only help write the ballots, but participate in getting signatures and participate in the marketing. And in the case of the marketing, we've been discussing that. And you're going to love this. We found a way to pay for the roads. Lars and I were talking at the park last week and found a way to do it. We just sell the roads to the power companies and let them put solar roadways everywhere. And then they can benefit and we can benefit and nobody has to pay for roads anymore. Okay, that's enough of that. But that's the kind of stuff that we're looking at doing is creating things that are libertarian, uphold libertarian values, and supporting candidates that are libertarian. And at that point, we have a donation button on setoregonfree.com. If you've been to the website, you'll notice that it has changed. It is not just me there anymore. Taylor Rickey and Michael Morrow are both on it. If LJ's still here, LJ, if you wanted to talk to me about it, we can talk about bringing more libertarian candidates into the concept. I have Charlie Cox has been recording some stuff for me as a narrator, and I actually have an outlet for them. Lucid Libertarian has requested that we provide her recording for her podcast to pimp out the candidates. So we're going to do that. We're going to do everything we can to do that.
All right. Thank you for that update, Leon. I put it in the chat and it will also go in the show notes at OregonFree.com, and then the 2 PACs as well.
Oh, one last thing. Noble for Oregon is Ron Noble. So don't mistake that, because we don't want to donate to him. He lost his primary.
All right. That's a good bit of information to have. Okay. Any other observers before we could wrap this up? Okay. Well, we have our next board meeting set by policy for August 10th. Does anyone have an issue? Do any of the directors have a conflict, is what I mean to ask? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 10:31, and I believe we started at 8:34. Thanks, everyone.